Welcome to another edition of Tyrone Paulson Drives, where we finally get a little bit of reprieve from the rain we've had in Cape Town recently. Now, today we get to test a car that is part of the revolution of new brands reshaping the South African car buying market. Oh, and I'm getting over the man flu, and man flu is real, people. I don't know how I'm going to get through today. It's not a joke. It's not a joke. It's real.
This is the JAECOO J7 Inferno. It's the latest entry from the Chinese manufacturer Chery. It's a 5-seater urban crossover laden with tech and features, and has the styling that is even the "I only buy European" car buyer taking a second look.
And talking about it looks, this has got a bit of a more boxy style look, which in my opinion is quite refreshing. Specifically in a market where lots of SUVs are, dare I even say, going a bit more curvy. It takes its, well, styling from SUVs of old, you know, like what we got used to, that initial boxy shape, but yet still keeping it very, very fresh. Now, I know many people say that, well, it looks like a copy of a Range Rover. And yes, it does have some styling cues from those type of cars, but I would rather say, instead of calling it a copy, let's just say it takes its inspiration from something that looks great and even gives it their own touch. For example, if you take a look at these checkered flagged DRLs combined with this big grille, it kind of gives you that whole premium Rolls-Royce kind of look of old, you know, but doing it in a much more compact shape, and looks quite fetching, ain't it? Then there are these mirrors. They are, well, it still retains that whole boxy shape, but it has this black strip here in the front. I don't know what its purpose is, but it gives it that whole floaty kind of look. JAECOO says their design philosophy melds technology with aesthetics, transforming vehicles into, well, art, which is very evident from this design, from the pop-out door handles to the stacked headlights I have over here. And then there's also those flush aerodynamically designed 19-inch wheels, and also just the way it kind of slightly bulges out over the wheel arches, making it look a little wider than what it is. You can't argue, it is a very good-looking car. There are 3 models to choose from in the JAECOO J7 range, starting with the entry-level Vortex at just under 550,000 Rand. And then there's the Glacier at just under the 600,000 Rand mark. Both these versions are front-wheel drive, where this Inferno makes use of an all-wheel drive system. The same 1.6-litre turbocharged petrol engine is used across the range, all of them making the same power at 145 kilowatts and 290 Newton meters of torque, and they also use the same 7-speed dual-clutch transmission. Now, this Inferno over here is about 80,000 Rand more than the Glacier, and it comes in at 679,900 Rand. The feature spec of those 2 models are very, very close to each other, with the all-wheel drive system, as found in the Inferno, being the key difference here. Now, there are 9 different colors to choose from, and you can mix up some of the combinations. Like this has got the green combined with the carbon crystal black option. Now, all the models also come with the same 5-year, 60,000 kilometer service plan, as well as a 5-year, 150,000 kilometer and a 1 million kilometer engine warranty. The inside of the J7 has that very modern, minimalistic kind of look we find in many cars nowadays, and it is also quite intimidating when you get in the first time, especially when you see this 14.8-inch portrait-style display. You immediately go into that, oh no, where are the buttons syndrome, you know, because there's no buttons here, well, very little of them. But with clear shortcuts and menus that are in here, it's actually very, very easy to use. All that we need to do, and I'll say this every single time, is we need to shift our minds to realize these systems are as easy to use as what our cell phones and tablets are. It actually makes a heck of a lot of sense, as you can adjust various different settings by simply just going into these menus. Now, can you imagine if we had to have buttons for every single thing that we have. There'd be buttons through the whole freaking car. You know, and that's a little bit crazy, man. That's madness. This works. Just use it. There's a 10-inch driver display in front of me, which is probably the only thing I don't like, and it's just because of the layout. I want more traditional dials, and that would definitely work for me, but it does have a very cool heads-up display, which then kind of makes up for all of those. Works very, very well overall. Now, this floating center console over here, which we see nowadays in most cars, is a very, very nice touch. I remember when we saw this car at its pre-launch in Beijing in 2023, this was the one thing that everybody kind of liked, and it is a very comfortable place to sit here in the front, especially when you are sitting like this and your arm is right here on the armrest. You're able to get to the gear lever very quickly, the controls that are here, and also interact with the shortcuts on the screen. Everything operates really, really seamlessly without, you know, having to like stretch out. Like, for example, if you get your perfect seating position like I have now, I don't have to really reach to get to the screen. It's all right here. It's simple and easy. And then if you have any issues with that, now the rest of the infotainment system is voice operated, with it understanding most of the commands that you throw at it. Like, for example, hello, JAECOO.
I'm listening.
How are you?
I'd like to say yes, but it's beyond my ability.
Please close the sunroof.
The sunroof is already closed.
Okay, can you close the blinds?
I'd like to say yes, but it's beyond my ability.
Can you close the sunroof blind?
The sunroof is already closed.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
I'm sorry. It's beyond my ability.
Overall, the interior setup feels and looks really, really premium. There are soft touch materials in the places where it, well, kind of needs to be. And the ambient and the interior lights in this car is honestly, I think, a lot better than what you'd find in a lot more other expensive cars. Now, there are also some inspiration that you find from other cars in here, but they put a nice touch to it and really managed to pull it off really well. I think, for me personally, I think that this is probably one of the best interior setups of any of the Chery group of cars that you can currently find in South Africa. That's a very nice place to sit.
The faux leather seat with its stitching feels good to the touch and is very comfortable. In all the versions of the J7, the seats are power adjustable, with the Glacier and Inferno models having 6-way power adjustment, including heating and cooling functions. The steering in the Inferno is heated as well, which, with this cold weather in Cape Town, has been a blessing. There are USB ports in the storage shelf below the center console, but also wireless charging is standard. What I like is how it integrates with your mobile phone. Both Android Auto as well as Apple CarPlay is available. To be quite honest, I can't wait to see what it looks like when the new CarPlay gets launched.
In the back of the JAECOO J7, it's also a spacious affair with enough space to fit 3 passengers. There's also space to put in 2 car seats with ISOFIX points. I have enough leg and headroom sitting over here, even with this panoramic sunroof in place. But then again, I'm only 1.7 meters tall though. But for you giants who are over that, you'll be fine too. But JAECOO's also got you covered if you're still worried about leg space, because what they've got is that if you sit behind the front passenger seat, it's got seat controls for you to move it forward and backwards, which then gives you a little bit more space. The only problem is if you've got kids like mine, they will be messing with whoever's going to sit over here by messing with the seat the whole time. Talking about kids, they'll also be fine otherwise because, well, there are 2 USB ports in here, USB-A and USB-C, so charging is taken care of. There is an aircon vent, however, no individual aircon temperature controls. There's space to put your cell phone in here in the center console as well, so when they charge it, or in the seat pockets in front of them, as well as enough space to put in a magazine, a tablet, or whatever other junk they'd love to store. There's also cup holders and an armrest to, well, then separate them if need be. So yeah, overall, I think whoever sits here at the back will be very comfortable. I'm worried about the person that's going to sit in this car. Woo! I would also mess with it all time. The only place where this car lacks a little is in the boot compared to a lot of its rivals, because the boot size over here, it's only 412 liters. but they're still good enough for you to be able to put in, you know, 2 large suitcases. You know, right now I got in a large camera bag, but you can easily put a golf bag in here, maybe a hockey bag, and even 2 full shopping trolleys of goodies. It has 4 tie-down points where you can, well, tie down larger items. If you put the seat down, for example, you get 1,335 liters of space. I mean, the space is enough for quite a bit of few things, and even going away for the weekend with some extra little hidden story space and cubbies and stuff all over the place. But I don't think you'll be able to fit in something like a 75-inch TV inside of its box in here. But I mean, it's good enough for a normal family, which mine isn't. Damn. But it could still work. Driving any of the Chery group of cars has been a pleasurable all-round experience for me so far, and that exact same theme continues right here in the JAECOO J7. Now, I was fortunate enough to be able to drive this all-wheel drive version as well as a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. That version I ran a slalom track in China, and they were really good and a lot of fun. At no point did I ever feel completely unsafe or unsteady and uneasy in this car, and that is all because of all the amazing safety features that is built in all of these cars. I mean, standard across the range, you get things like, well, the obvious is ABS braking, stability control, there's collision avoidance, collision braking, there's rear traffic alert, there's a 360-degree camera, emergency lane keeping assist, so if something goes wrong, it'll try and keep you steady. But if you add like the Glacier and the Inferno version, then you get stuff like adaptive cruise control, front and rear collision warning. There's lane keeping assist and a whole bunch of extra additional features, which is really good. However, some of them are quite annoying and a bit intrusive at times, like the example with the lane keeping assist. And you know, sometimes, like we have in our roads, lines get faded. And this car tries to then, you know, just adjust itself, and that could be a little bit worrying for many things. But actually all of the features you can either turn on or off, or you can set the way you want it to be to your personal preference per se. Now, the way this car delivers its power, in my opinion, is, well, a lot smoother than some of its cousins from the Chery family. And it could be because, well, JAECOO tweaked the transmission system slightly. I mean, they now claim that this car shifts at least 0.2 seconds quicker than before. And to be quite honest with you, I can't really test that theory, but it does feel a lot smoother, a lot quicker. And it's really good. However, this dual clutch system, compared to a lot of its rivals out there, it's not as good. It still feels jerky at some times, but I mean, it's very, very close. And it is also a common thing with dual clutch transmissions. Now, talking about how quick and its power of this car, it's also quite fun to drive, especially when you throw it into its sports mode. And with this all-wheel drive system, it just absorbs all the bumps in the ride and road conditions very, very well. But this car, it isn't really a performance version of it. There are 7 different drive modes that you can choose from, even a off-road version in this Inferno. But to be quite honest with you, even with its 200 millimeters of ground clearance, I would stick to gravel roads and try and avoid, you know, those off-road trails. Now, we've been using this car over the last few days to do our school runs, run to the shops, and also running in between our offices. And it's been, well, a very, very comfortable, easy car to live with. I mean, parking is a breeze, stop-start and traffic is good, overtaking is effortlessly done, and the same with, you know, getting to highway speeds and all of that. And with all of that said and done, you know, it still shows really, really good fuel economy. I mean, a lot better than what you would get from a lot of its cousins, you know, from the Chery family. Now, JAECOO claims that you should get 7.8 liters per 100 kilometers in this all-wheel drive Inferno version. We've been on the highway, got just over 8, and on a combined cycle, like right now, I'm sitting at 8.8 liters per 100 kilometers. And that is very, very good. Now I know you might be asking that question, which version of the JAECOO J7 should you get? Well, there's a few things that you need to, kind of consider. And one of them is, first thing you need to know is you get the exact same performance figures from all the versions, okay? But you need to kind of ask that question, do you really need all the tech, and do you really need the, all-wheel drive system? Because to be quite honest with you, I think most of us will be very happy with even just the entry level, the Vortex version. But if you go with the Glacier, for example, I think that'll probably be the best value for money for you, because you get the best of both worlds. You get that same practicality that you get in the Vortex, but with the same level of tech as the Inferno. And for me though, the Inferno is the one I would choose personally, because I prefer the all-wheel drive system, just the way it feels. But then again, if you use the all-wheel drive system, then you use a little bit more fuel. And I think that's what's going to make the actual difference, and why the Glacier for me is probably the best option for everyone else out there. Because again, best bang for your buck. You get all the tech, but you don't get the all-wheel drive system, which means, better fuel economy than what you'll get from the Inferno. But either way, no matter which version of the JAECOO J7 that you choose, I personally think, you'll be happy either way. JAECOO is billed as Chery's flagship premium brand, aimed at a market who, wants practicality, it wants all the tech, all the safety features, good looks, and most of all, obviously, good value for money, which you get in one single package in the JAECOO J7, which is really good after all for us, the consumer. I mean, compared to some of its direct rivals like the Kia Sportage and the VW Tiguan, at its top spec Inferno level, the J7 is between 16 and 40,000 Rand more than the entry levels of those cars. And get this, between 100 and 145,000 Rand less than those cars' top spec versions, yet offering the same amount of tech, but more power and even better warranty options. The thing is though, that we as brand loyal consumers know those brands really, really well. We know what to expect and what their future values will be. But yet, when it comes to JAECOO, as well as the other Chery products and some of the other cars from the Chinese market, we're still in that honeymoon phase, so we don't really know what we're kind of gonna get. And then there's also another thing which counts against them. It's the perception that cheaper is not always better. But then again, 600,000 Rand plus is not a little money either. Overall though, this is a damn good car at a really, really good price. It's so good and good value for money that we're even considering getting one for our family. That's it for another edition of Tyrone Paulson Drives. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't, please subscribe. Thank you very much for watching. Catch you on the next one.